This is observed reality. Nothing here is meant to convince you, only to help you notice what is already present. Attention arrives before interpretation. It settles without force. It does not announce itself. In ordinary moments, perception is already active. Sound registers. Movement registers. Patterns register. Most of this occurs without commentary, before preference, before reaction. Reality is not entered through effort. It is entered through noticing what is already occurring. The body occupies space. Time moves forward. Events unfold without explanation. This arrival is not dramatic. It does not require belief. It does not depend on insight. It is simply the condition of being present while something happens. There is a difference between what occurs and what is taken in. Perception is not neutral by default. It is shaped by exposure, by repetition, by what is allowed to linger. The phenomenon can be described as perceptual filtering, not conscious choice alone, not unconscious drift alone. Information enters continuously. Some of it is noticed. Some of it passes through without registration. What remains influences orientation, not immediately, gradually. This is not a matter of optimism or pessimism. It is not a moral quality. It is a mechanical one. The mind does not process everything equally. It prioritizes what is frequent, what is loud, what is unresolved. Over time, this filtering affects what feels possible, what feels familiar, what feels distant, not because reality has narrowed, but because attention has been trained in a specific direction. Everyday recognition. This phenomenon appears in routine situations. A room feels tense before words are spoken. A task feels heavy before it begins. A conversation feels repetitive before its direction is clear. These impressions often precede conscious thought. They are not conclusions, they are signals. Media consumption leaves a residue, not always identifiable, not always immediate. Certain sounds accelerate the body. Certain images slow it down. Certain narratives repeat long after they are no longer present. Even silence can carry weight, depending on what filled the space before it. Daily choices accumulate. What is read? What is overheard? What is ignored? None of these moments announce significance, yet they shape internal orientation. This is not a failure of discipline. It is a feature of perception. Awareness does not expand through intensity. It expands through consistency. Recognition occurs quietly, often after the fact, sometimes too late to trace its origin. Still, the pattern remains observable. There is an interference that operates without intention. It is not a person. It is not an adversary. It functions as a system, built on volume, speed, and repetition. This system rewards immediacy. It fragments attention. It shortens processing time. It fills gaps before they can be examined. It replaces observation with reaction. The interference does not block perception. It overloads it. Signals compete. Context collapses. Nuance dissolves. Under these conditions, perception becomes reactive, not inaccurate, but incomplete. The system does not require consent. It only requires exposure. Over time, this exposure conditions expectation. Expectation shapes interpretation. Interpretation shapes behavior. None of this is personal. None of it is targeted. It is simply how systems scale. The result is a subtle resistance, not against progress, but against clarity. The interference thrives on constant input. It diminishes space between impressions. In that compression, awareness has less room to register what matters, not because it disappears, but because it is crowded out. Reorientation is not correction. It is not improvement. It is a return to noticing. When input slows, perception reorganizes on its own, without instruction, without effort. This does not eliminate interference. It changes the relationship to it. Patterns become visible again, not all at once, not completely. What once felt inevitable appears conditional. What once felt urgent appears optional. This shift is subtle. It does not resolve tension, it reframes it. Reality continues to contain conflict. Noise continues to exist. Outcomes remain uncertain. Reorientation does not promise ease. It restores proportion. Attention begins to distinguish signal from saturation, not perfectly, but sufficiently. What is taken in becomes more selective. Not by rule, by awareness. The foundation of perception steadies, not because everything aligns, but because less is misattributed. This is not withdrawal. It is not disengagement. It is the quiet recalibration that occurs when observation is allowed to function without interruption. Nothing is solved here. Nothing is finalized. The process remains ongoing, as perception always is. Observation doesn't demand belief, only attention.
Interaction remains optional. Subscription, comments, and sharing register engagement. They do not alter the observation itself. This has been observed reality. Nothing here required agreement, only recognition.